You place the bet at exactly 7:42 in the evening. Your team does not need to cover a complicated handicap. They do not need to score a specific number of goals. They only need to win the match. You check the injuries, recent form, weather, and home advantage. After all that research, the bet feels intelligent and calculated. You press confirm with complete confidence in your decision. Then you sit forward and wait for the match to begin. Your team scores first, and the room suddenly feels brighter. With almost no time remaining, victory seems practically guaranteed. You are already looking at tomorrow's matches on your phone. In your mind, tonight's winnings are already funding the next bets. Then one defender makes a careless mistake near the penalty area. The opposing team scores a late equalizer from almost nothing. The game moves into extra time, and your confidence disappears. A few minutes later, your team concedes the deciding goal. You stare at the final score in complete disbelief. You do not feel unlucky, you feel personally cheated. You replay the mistake and insist your analysis was correct. The loss feels random, unfair, and impossible to accept. Then another match appears inside the betting application. It begins soon, giving you almost no time to think. You raise the next stake because you want the money back. The previous losing ticket remains behind the new one like a shadow. And that is the exact moment the sportsbook truly wins. The trap was never only the result of one game. The trap was convincing you that another bet could repair it. You believe you are predicting sports, but something else is happening. Behind the bright screen, the operator is studying customer behavior. It does not only measure teams, injuries, goals, and statistics. It measures frustration, confidence, impatience, and emotional reactions. It knows when a customer is most likely to increase a stake. You think your sports knowledge gives you control, but the system is often better at predicting you. Sometimes you win, and that makes the illusion even stronger. A successful ticket fills the room with temporary green light. Several winning bets can make an entire week feel different. One lucky month can make you believe you found a system. But short-term winning and long-term profit are completely different things. A winning ticket can disappear as quickly as a spark. A slow financial decline is much harder to notice. The first problem exists before the match even starts. The sportsbook does not need every prediction to be correct. It only needs to operate a machine with a built-in advantage. Imagine two people betting on a perfectly balanced coin toss. One person chooses heads, and the other chooses tails. Over time, both should win approximately half of the rounds. But now place an operator between those two people. The operator quietly takes a small amount from every wager. The coin remains fair, but both players slowly lose money. The operator's small cuts eventually become an enormous pile. You might predict half the outcomes correctly and still lose. That feels confusing because being right should produce a reward. But every bet carries a hidden participation cost. The sportsbook collects from both sides of the market. It does not matter which fan celebrates after the match. Over thousands of wagers, the built-in margin keeps working. This means you are not only predicting which team will win, you are also deciding whether the offered price is worth buying. A powerful favorite can have a high chance of victory, but if the price is too expensive, the bet still has poor value. The team can win while your decision remains mathematically weak. Most customers ask one simple question: who will win? A profitable bettor must answer a much harder question. Is the true probability better than the probability inside the odds? That difference is where real value would need to exist. But most bettors are not calculating value. They are following stories that make outcomes feel obvious. You watch highlights late at night and believe you found an advantage. Meanwhile, the sportsbook processed the same information much earlier. Its systems saw the statistics, injuries, weather, and recent results. A famous striker returns and you immediately become interested. Before you place the bet, the price has already adjusted. You assume a strong team cannot lose twice in a row. You imagine an underdog producing a heroic, emotional upset. You watch last weekend's dominant performance and expect a repeat. A player scores 3 times, so you expect another goal immediately. You become excited by revenge matches and must-win situations. Every emotional story pulls you closer to the betting screen. But everyone already knows that the strongest teams are strong. Thousands of fans are choosing the same famous favorites. The sportsbook knows public emotion can distort customer decisions. To gain a genuine advantage, you need information the market misunderstood. You also need to act before everyone else notices it. By the time your research is finished, the price may already be gone. Then the application offers something much more exciting: a parlay. A normal single bet produces a return that feels unimpressive, but 5 selections can transform a small stake into hundreds. The favorite only needs to win. The star player only needs to score. Another match must produce enough goals. An underdog must avoid defeat. One final game must finish above the selected total. Every individual choice appears logical and reasonably safe. Together, however, they create a fragile chain of uncertainty. One broken link destroys the entire ticket. But you are not looking at the number of failure points. You are looking at the giant possible reward. The application surrounds it with colors, arrows, animations, and boosts. The stake appears tiny beside the imagined mountain of money. The first selection wins, and then the second one wins. The third and fourth results also turn green. You are now one outcome away from a huge payout. Then the final selection fails in the last moments. The entire ticket becomes worthless despite 4 correct predictions. The sportsbook keeps the full stake without paying for being almost right. Because you came close, the loss feels encouraging instead of educational. You replay the failed moment and imagine the missing payout. The word almost becomes more powerful than the actual result. The next morning, you build another parlay. Perhaps this one has fewer selections and a larger stake. Then the application offers a bright promotional boost. A special reward appears beside the new ticket. Soon, your phone fills with bonuses and limited-time offers. The promotions create the feeling that you are receiving free value. But promotions are not gifts from a generous company. They are tools designed to create a regular customer. An occasional bet slowly becomes a daily routine. Before long, betting is connected to your television, phone, and schedule. You no longer watch football as a complete game. You only watch one striker's number of shots. The rest of the match becomes background noise. During basketball, you stop caring which team wins. You only need one more point for your ticket. A meaningless late score can destroy the entire evening. Your favorite team may win while your bet still loses. Instead of celebrating, you become angry. Sports gradually lose their original color and excitement. Everything turns into odds, totals, lines, and red tickets. You sit on the couch like an exhausted employee. Several matches play around you, but none feel entertaining. The stadium remains bright while your emotional world becomes smaller. Betting has turned your hobby into unpaid work. Then the most dangerous cycle begins with one small stake. You start with $20 and feel completely casual. The first betting chip disappears after a losing result. You place a larger second bet and call it a better opportunity. The second stake disappears too, leaving only frustration. Now you are no longer trying to earn a profit. You are trying to return to zero. Zero becomes a glowing finish line in your mind. So you dramatically increase the next stake. At this point, the match itself barely matters anymore. You only care about the amount required to recover. You imagine the enormous relief of winning everything back. But when the next bet loses, the negative balance expands. One bad evening becomes an entire bad weekend. Soon the money is coming from next month's living expenses. The size of the previous mistake now determines the next risk. That is the exact opposite of rational decision-making. The next football match knows nothing about your earlier losses. The ball does not care how much money you need. The referee does not know when your rent payment is due. But your mind sees an unfinished emotional story. It demands closure, and the sportsbook provides another game. One match appears immediately after the previous loss. Then you see games from other leagues and countries. A loss can be chased only minutes after it happens. Pre-match betting quickly turns into live betting. You can wager on the next goal, corner, possession, or point. The market becomes a set of rapidly spinning doors. You watch one team attack repeatedly and sense growing momentum. You become convinced that the next goal is about to happen. But the odds move before you can react. A countdown creates pressure to make the decision quickly. You are working with incomplete information and powerful emotions. The application changes every second while you struggle to follow. You are no longer analyzing the event, you are only reacting. The faster the cycle becomes, the stronger the sportsbook's advantage grows. Then, social media shows you a completely different reality. Someone turns $50 into $2,000 overnight. An influencer proudly displays several winning tickets and piles of money. You feel inspired, jealous, and slightly embarrassed by your own results. But the public profile only contains the successful bets. A hidden drawer contains all the losses that were never shown. Affiliate commissions may be connected to every new customer. A friend tells you one parlay paid for an entire vacation. He proudly displays the winning screenshot on his phone. You see one dramatic result, not the complete transaction history. Your own memory works in exactly the same way. You clearly remember the night you predicted the exact score. That single successful prediction glows brighter than everything else. You tell your friends that you knew it would happen. Meanwhile, dozens of small, losing tickets quietly disappear behind you. You still believe that you are approximately breaking even. Then you finally review the actual bank statement. There are far more deposits than successful withdrawals. The total loss is much larger than you expected. The betting application emphasized only your current balance. It never placed the lifetime loss at the center of the screen. So you created a comforting story around the numbers. You told yourself you were only slightly behind. You believed one good weekend would fix everything. The imagined jackpot remained visible at the end of a dangerous path. Then you begin recording every single wager honestly. The complete spreadsheet contains many more red rows than green ones. At this point, you discover the idea of bankroll management. You watch videos about professional discipline and controlled staking. You write rules for yourself and begin to feel sophisticated. Never risk too much. Never chase losses. Only bet when value appears. Stop after several failed wagers. Those rules may slow down the damage, but rules cannot create an advantage that does not exist. A seatbelt can reduce danger, but it does not create an engine. A carefully managed bankroll can still leak slowly over time. A disciplined person may survive longer than an impulsive one. Survival is not the same thing as profitability. A genuine statistical edge would need to be proven, not imagined. Yet you attempt to prove it with only 10 bets. 3 early victories create an attractive upward line. 5 consecutive wins make the strategy appear extremely powerful. Randomness lifts you temporarily, while a much larger wave waits behind. Sports are filled with events no ordinary model controls perfectly. One red card can change the entire match. A star player can leave injured in the opening minutes. A penalty can strike the post instead of going in. A referee can make a controversial decision. An average player can suddenly produce the performance of his life. These are not strange exceptions to the system. They are part of the system itself. A tiny sample of wagers reveals almost nothing. Proving a genuine advantage may require thousands of bets. That demands money, patience, data, and emotional control. Most ordinary customers judge themselves after only a few results. 4 victories encourage a much larger 5th stake. When the 5th bet also wins, confidence becomes certainty. You begin to believe that you understand the entire league. You place wagers on games you previously would have avoided. Then you add more live bets and larger parlays. You treat the winnings as money that never truly belonged to you. But the moment the money was won, it became yours. Calling it house money only makes losing it easier. Eventually, the winning streak ends. The green light quickly turns red again. The previous profit returns to the sportsbook one bet at a time. Sometimes one oversized emotional wager destroys the entire streak. The operator remains calm because temporary winners are not always dangerous. A winning customer may simply become a more confident customer. After a withdrawal, promotional offers may arrive immediately. When you stop betting, reminders appear inside your inbox. The next temptation remains close through email, phone, television, and notifications. The operator does not need to force any decision. It only needs to remain available when your emotions become strongest. Now look at the groups that reliably earn money from sports betting. The sportsbook operators earn money from betting volume. Data companies earn money by selling fast information. Payment providers earn from moving customer funds. Sports organizations earn from commercial partnerships. Influencers can earn from sponsorships and affiliate commissions. Professional syndicates may also find small advantages. But those syndicates use enormous data sets, advanced models, specialized teams, and fast execution. Meanwhile, you are sitting alone on a couch with a smartphone. You bring opinions and knowledge of the sport. They bring technology, pricing systems, infrastructure, and behavioral data. On that scale, your personal opinion becomes extremely small. The sportsbook studies which markets attract emotional money. Famous teams naturally receive excessive public attention. Fans prefer goals and exciting outcomes over boring possibilities. Large potential payouts shine brighter than realistic probabilities. The operator knows that losing customers often chase. It also knows that winning customers often increase their stakes. You are one pattern among millions of similar customers. Those millions have already taught the company how human emotion behaves. This does not mean every single bet must become a disaster. A person can place a tiny entertainment bet with a fixed budget. The stake can be treated like the price of a movie ticket. The money is considered spent before the game begins. When the bet loses, the application can simply be closed. But entertainment and income are completely different doors. Entertainment has a clear and limited price. The dream of profit leads toward an endless staircase. That dream tells you sports knowledge can replace a job. It makes a perfect betting system appear possible. Behind the fantasy, however, are repeated deposits and emotional losses. The dream has no natural spending limit. There is always another match that might recover the month. Another parlay promises to change everything instantly. So before confirming the next wager, ask one uncomfortable question. Would you place the bet if nobody could ever see the win? Imagine no screenshots, friends, applause, or social media posts. Does the ticket still feel equally exciting? Now compare one public win with the full record of losses. Imagine the application without bright colors or animations. Remove the boosts, celebrations, and giant potential payouts. What remains is a cold probability screen. Suddenly, the opportunity may look much less attractive. Perhaps you were never buying an investment. Perhaps you were buying excitement, hope, and temporary escape. For 2 hours, attaching money makes the match feel incredibly important. But an emotional purchase is not a financial strategy. The system does not need you to be unintelligent. It only needs you to remain human. Humans overestimate what they know after a small amount of research. We remember dramatic victories more clearly than ordinary losses. We chase closure when the story feels unfinished. We confuse a lucky result with a good decision. We treat a near miss as evidence of skill. We increase risk when anger and frustration are strongest. The sportsbook can simply wait while emotion defeats discipline. Your sports knowledge may appear like a powerful shield, but emotional pressure can open a completely different door behind you. The company does not need to defeat your analysis. It only needs one emotional mistake. Now another perfect-looking opportunity appears on the phone. Your finger hovers above the confirmation button. This time, however, you slowly lower the device. The red glow begins fading from your face. You disable the promotional alerts and betting notifications. Then you watch the next match with the application closed. Slowly, the sport begins to feel enjoyable again. Your favorite team scores and you celebrate the goal itself. No ticket needs to be checked. The giant betting machine continues operating without you. You walk away while many other customers continue entering. The odds, promotions, and bright screens fade behind you. You put the phone inside your pocket and continue through the city. There is no urgent loss that needs to be recovered. The sportsbook may still predict the next match correctly, but this time you choose not to participate. From the outside, you finally see the whole machine. Its greatest advantage was never predicting every winner. Its greatest advantage was keeping you as a customer. The colorful lights become smaller as you continue walking. Later, you watch another match peacefully with your friends. You laugh, celebrate, and enjoy the uncertainty of the game. When the final whistle sounds, there is nothing to chase. The easiest way to beat the sportsbook is not predicting the next winner. It is refusing to remain the customer.